So it's a scene that plays itself out again and again at horse shows, at trail rides, at clinics. The horse that has been just fine at home goes to the event and he's nervous, he's panicky, he's pawing, he's prancing, he's pacing, he's pulling. I can remember recently a gal brought a horse to a ranch show, and the horse was at the trailer whinnying and pawing and worrying. He was up on his toes and on edge in the warm-up pen, and it only got worse in the show ring. And as this gal came out, she says to me, "I don't get it. He was perfect at home." And if I've heard that and experienced it once, I've heard it 1,000 times. The fact is, the horse is different at home from what he is away from home, especially in the early phases of leaving home. You go to a different place, you're going to be riding a different horse. And you need to come to terms with that and address it. Think about how much you're asking of the horse, especially a young horse or an unsophisticated horse. The old war horses, they go away and they're very professional about it. But to a young horse, they love a routine. They love being able to predict what's going to happen next. They like the familiarity of the place and the routine. And you disrupt all of that. It starts when you put them in a trailer. Just hauling with a horse that hasn't been hauled much is stressful. Getting loaded, getting hauled, being in this rattling box going over the road and coming out completely disoriented. Who hasn't seen a horse come off the trailer and raise his head up in absolute wonder at the sort of transport over time and space that has just happened, that makes no sense to him? And later on, that becomes old hat. The old war horse raises his head, looks around. He may even recognize a familiar place he's been to away from home. And if not, he's ready to settle in. To the young horse, it's a voyage to a strange planet. And we need to help them with that. The fact that they're perfect at home is not totally transferable. You can get your horse to where you couldn't change a thing about him at home. So haul him down the road a little way, haul him to a friend's house, see what you've got. So we start with the first of the things that really deviates for the horse, and that is getting in the trailer. If your horse is a nervous loader, work on that. Don't layer that stress on top of the stress of leaving home. If he's a nervous hauler, haul him around. I routinely will teach horses to load. I'll feed them in the trailer a few times. I'll load them. I'll haul them out to the road. We drive out. We turn around in the church parking lot a mile away. We come back. I pull in. We unload them. They look around and say, "Oh, I survived that." And then the next time or the time after that, you take them to a strange place. But you don't layer one stressful experience onto another, because folks, they just don't understand. It seems to them to be life-threatening, even though we know it isn't. They sure don't. So give them that opportunity to be good loaders, good haulers, good travelers, and to gradually move to more unique circumstances. Take them home at first. Take them to some place close to home. Take them to a friend's place to ride. We take our horses, the young horses, to a local park that's 3 miles away. We go for a trail ride, and I mean, they're up on their toes the first couple of times. But after a bit, it all seems okay to them, and then we'll haul them to a show and not show them. I can name one very well-regarded trainer who has a huge program, and at one major NRHA event, he had 60 stalls reserved. He had 60 horses at the horse show, but he only showed about 30 of them. The other half were 2- and 3-year-olds who were getting hauled away with no intention to show them, but to let them live there in that case for several days, get acclimated to that new way of life that was going to be part of what was expected of them if they went away from home to a show later. People pull in to trail rides, and they'll haul a horse away that hasn't been hauled away before. He'll be a nervous hauler. He'll get off the trailer already drenched, and it goes downhill from there. It doesn't need to be that way if you give them a little more preparation. And don't, if you're a trail rider, haul them to some big event where 60 people are going for a leisurely ride, which candidly for me is my definition of hell. But if that's what you're into, if that's what you want to do, don't go there and unload them in the middle of what must seem like the end of the world to them. And there in that apocalypse, you expect them to step up and take you for a nice, safe, enjoyable trail ride. It's not going to be safe for you. It's not going to be enjoyable for the horse or for you. Take them away with friends who are understanding a time or two. Somebody who has a good, reliable horse that can be a lead horse. Make sure they're riding real well in whatever challenging circumstances you can show them at home, so there's at least a little bit of transferability, because this is all so different to them that they just completely revert. And it's rare, very rare, to have a horse that you take away for the first time and they just step up and say, okay, whatever you ask. I mean, I can name 2 horses that I took to their first shows, and they were like old pros, with one exception. These were such nice horses that they both notched up their performance a notch. They were better at the show than at home because they were basically quiet horses. They were a little on edge, and it translated into trying harder. We should all be so blessed. I remember those 2 horses and remember them fondly, not because I can claim that to be something that I achieve again and again, but because that was a gift from a couple of exceptional horses. Don't count on that. It really helps to take your horse away from home with a companion. Don't haul them alone if you can avoid it. They like a bit of company. They'll tie up to your trailer better with company. And for gosh sakes, when you tie them up to the trailer, give them a hay bag to pick at. Don't just tie them there and leave them to digest their own stomach lining through their anxiety. Have a friend with them, have a hay bag to pick out, or take them along with you. When you go up to make your entries, you know, if your horse will stand for it and if the setting's proper, I'll lead my horse right up to the secretary stand if it's an outdoor show and just fill out my entries and the horse is there with me. Gives them an opportunity to get acclimatized to things. I've got one little horse who, she's just a nervous sort. And you take her away from home and everything seems threatening. She sees snakes on the ground everywhere. If you ride her into the pen to warm up and they've dragged and one of the teeth of the drag cut deeper, she'll jump that deep furrow or she'll spook from it. And it's just awful. And I've been showing her for several years, kind of lightly, and she's just now getting to where going away from home is no big deal. And at one point, if you left her there at the trailer, she would fret and fuss and sweat and build sort of a critical mass. And when you saddled her, she was just done. She was just a ball of nerves. So I started taking her with me. No matter what I did, if I went up to get a hot dog and a Coke, she went along with me. And if I sat down to talk to friends, she was there picking at grass. And the particular way this horse is, she does like people. She likes human companionship. She likes that reassurance. And gradually, she's gotten to where I can tie her at the trailer and she's okay. But every time I walk over, she nickers at me because it's like, oh, I'm okay, but I'm glad you're back. Kind of makes me feel good. And I think it establishes you as a companion, as a support, as somebody they can count on. Recognize the first few times you go to a show, to a clinic, to a trail ride, you are not going to get the performance that maybe you hope for. and you have to accept this as a work in progress. If you can take a horse to a horse show, ride him in the show pen and be successful on day one, you've got an exceptional horse, or you've just gotten lucky. I tend to say I'm going to take my young horse to a show or two and not even show him, just let him hang out. Or if I'm putting on a clinic, I'll haul my young horses along and ride them at that clinic. Don't do that more than a couple times a year, but it's still a good exposure to them. If you take your horse to a clinic, be aware that the problem you thought you had at home may be consumed with a different set of bigger, more systemic, basic problems that set in when the horse gets away from home if they haven't had that exposure before. So a clinic's a great place to expose your horse, but maybe not for the first time. Warwick Schiller, who's put on tons and tons of clinics, does it very well from all accounts, has as a condition, you must certify to him that your horse is not going away from home at the first time, for the first time at his clinic, because he has said that it just is so counterproductive to have to spend the entire clinic, usually a 2-day format, kind of singing the horse to sleep. Get that out of the horse's system, then bring him to the clinic, and there's still going to be some adjustment, and there are going to be things to work on, but not just adjusting to being away from home. Those are all things that will help you. But do recognize that your horse is going to be different away from home. He is not going to be the same guy. Other things happen. You go away and you walk into the show ring where your horse has been in your pen many times, except they've got banners up. Well, get there early. You owe that to your horse. Get there early. I'm a maniac for being the first guy to pull into the showgrounds. I had a little video I made of the beginning of my warm-up at the Keystone International last year. It was 4:30 in the morning, and I had the entire arena to myself. So I rode my horse around, had all the time in the world, all the space in the world to let her, and this was the nervous one I told you about, let her settle in. And as horses arrived, because they do start early, you were dropping all those newcomers into her instead of riding her into this maelstrom of horses churning around in an existing warm-up session. So by the time she left, there had been another horse and another horse and 2 more horses and 2 more horses, so that it all sort of blended together and she was much more relaxed. Get there early. Be aware of the fact things are going to be different. Maybe your horse hasn't really been exposed to an indoor arena. Maybe they haven't been exposed to a speaker system that blares right in your face. Maybe they haven't been someplace with flowers. You know, you'll see like landscaping at some of the bigger shows in the arena when you're showing as window dressing. Well, I've had horses look at that stuff really, really questionably. If you can expose them to that in advance, great. If you can't, at least have them so comfortable with the arena that that addition is a singular thing, not part of a whole unsurvivable critical mass of things that they're exposed to. So think about it from the horse's perspective. Also, and this is important, recognize that not only is your horse different, but you're different. You're going to a show. Maybe you don't go to a show every weekend. Maybe this is a big show. Maybe you really want to do well. Maybe you're a little concerned about a few little holes in your preparation that you're going to need to fill in. And you're tight. You're worried. It's hard to get away from that. It's hard not to be tight, not to be a little worried. You can't force yourself to relax. But recognize when you're not and try to remain at least outwardly relaxed with your horse. Let them take strength from you because they're going to need it. And I think if you take those things into account and you recognize that you're a different person, you're at a different place, a different set of stimuli, a different surrounding altogether and you are on a different horse, you'll understand why your horse that was perfect is different when you leave home, and you can start to make the adjustment to where they become professional. They go away and they settle right in. If you don't, you run the risk that the horse instead finds every trip to a new venue to be threatening, and they get worse, not better. Don't let that happen. Take the time to prepare. You'll be happier, the horse will be happier, you'll be more successful, and it will be a more satisfying experience. So give that some thought, give it a try, and I hope it works for you.